Are you singing like a Chinese song? I can hear you. La 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 la. Oh, now I'm singing. What's going on? Can you give me a mic check?
Check.
I see your vocal thing coming through.
You see it, but do you hear it?
I don't hear it, but I see it.
Okay.
What are we going to talk about today, Mr. Pell?
We're going to talk about Barry Manilow and his song. I like the songs and how it relates to the Bible, the demons, devil.
The Muse and music. Kind of enlightening. It's kind of cool. But before we start about muses and music and the Bible, it's all tied in with Lucifer, the Antichrist, the Babylonian king, Baal worship. It's all tied in to Lucy Loser in the Sky with trannies. You know? Mm-hmm. Before we begin that, I want to tell a little story about what happened to us at the restaurant when we went to breakfast. It's kind of cool. Mr. KAPOW and I went to breakfast. And when we got there, there was a line and there was a wait to get in because there was a lot of people here in town. So we got to the line and Miss KAPOW gave the name to the hostess, and we went and we took our little place and we waited. And, we waited for, quite a while, wouldn't you say? 10, 15 minutes
a lot
maybe?
longer than we normally have to wait.
Yeah. And, there was big parties going in, 5, 6 maybe, and people and stuff. And so we were just kind of up in the corner, waiting and talking, having a conversation. And then the hostess came and she called a couple, a party of 2, for a table. And when they got up, we saw them and we both looked at each other. Mr. KAPOW and I looked at each other because they were the couple that was in front of us when we were waiting in line. So we knew because they were in front of us, in line, that we would be next. We would be called next, okay? Mm-hmm. So remember that term, called. We knew we would be called next. And I told Miss KAPOW, I says, we're up because I see the signs.
Yeah.
We see the sign that we're near, we're close. Now, could I tell you exactly when we were going to be called?
No.
Did I know the hour or the moment?
No.
No, I did not know. But I knew that it was soon because I saw the sign that the couple that was before us had been called. Mm-hmm. So, just kidding, I look at Miss KAPOW and I say, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. And we both start laughing because it was so ridiculous that now's not the time to get distracted. Mm-hmm. Now is not the time to go somewhere. Now is not the time to get up and go to the bathroom and then lose your place in line, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now's the time to take heed and stay fast because you're about to get called, right? So we had a chuckle about that. And then you, Ms. KAPOW, talked about the virgins.
Yes.
And tied that into the wise virgins and the unwise virgins. Mm-hmm. And that they both had oil when they began. But one ran out of the supply of oil. And they had to go leave and get more oil.
Yeah, but first they asked the ones that did have it if they would share. And they said no, because if we share, we won't have enough for ourselves.
Exactly. So we can't leave our post to go help you and share the oil because then what if we run out? Mm-hmm. We came prepared. You should have been prepared. We feel for you, but get prepared. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of a little object lesson, over breakfast to see that. It was kind of cool. And then sure enough, not long after that, we were called. Mm-hmm. And we went and we sat down and we had a nice meal. But that's the way it is today. That's the way it is spiritually today. We are, in the throes of seeing all kinds of signs around you.
You know, it was interesting too, because that same morning, right before us, remember there was a family or party of 4, and they got tired of waiting.
Oh, yes.
And one of the guys says, "Let's just leave. I'm tired of waiting too long." And so the other 3 were like, "Well, if you want to, but we've waited this long, we might as well wait a little bit longer." So as they were having this discussion, they were just about to leave. I mean, just about. They were just heading out the door when their name was called.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a real good point. That's true.
And they chuckled.
Yeah, they chuckled because they actually stood up and they were just about to go screw it when the hostess came and said,
"Yeah," and they called their name, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, but
there was another example.
Yeah, another example of almost not making it because he just got impatient. Wow, really cool. I guess the lesson on that is, take heed. Take heed, folks. Be patient. It's tough. And when I say that, I got 3 fingers pointing back at me. All right? So don't judge. Why are they judging me, Miss KAPOW? Always judge me. The other thing is that at the end of this program, you have to stay to the end because I'm going to play a brand new song by Mesquite Cafe called "Why Don't You Look Into Jesus?"
It's one of my new favorites.
It really turned out nice. This is a song written by the late Larry Norman.
Oh.
If you don't know who Larry Norman is, you need to familiarize yourself with this man's music back in the 70s. Just an incredible influence on me. When I was a kid, I saw him in concert numerous times in Southern California. And what a big influence, because no one else was playing music like this in the Christian realm. He was a Christian prophet, actually, who was a musician, who was rejected a lot by the conservative church because he was just so out there for him. Anyway, "Why Don't You Look Into Jesus" is a great tune, and it's going to be released. The single will be released March 16th. 2019. That's in 3-4 weeks. That's when it'll be released. It'll be available at all online digital retailers. I do have a video of it coming out. I did a video last week. I put a video out called "The Making of Why Don't You Look Into Jesus," which talks a little bit about the motivation and the reasons why that song was chosen. But then the actual music video of that song will come out March 1st, on our Facebook pages. But if you hunt deeply on YouTube, go to Mesquite Cafe YouTube site or Fifth Hook Media YouTube site. I'm just saying, you might find it up there. I'm just saying, okay? You might find it already up there. But the song will be released then. So at the end of the show, I'm going to play that.
Yeah.
And you will like it. You will or you get no breakfast. All right. So Miss KAPOW and I we always talk, and it sounds crazy. Maybe some of you don't believe us when we say this, and some of you do believe. But I've been ranting and raving for a long time saying anybody that's of worldly stature did not get there because they were biblical Christians. They got there because the boss put them there. Whether you're a politician, whether you're a book author, a musician, or a movie star, or a celebrity, if you're celebrated as a star, Lucifer put you up there. Lucy, loser in the sky with trannies, because that fallen angel has an agenda to destroy all humanity and to prevent humanity from finding salvation through God made flesh, through Jesus Christ of Nazareth. That's his agenda. So he will take humans who are willing to sell out to him. They will sell out, and he will give them the kingdoms of the world. Literally Matthew 4 stuff. It's literally Matthew 4. He did it to Jesus himself. If you'll just bow down to me, I'll give you all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's what he does. Millions of dollars to a lot of these people. A lot of fame, power, money, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. A lot of money. And one of the things that I think in the past, especially in the 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s, Christians would see demonic music produced by bands like, Dio, Black Sabbath, a host of satanic bands. And, of course, you have Marilyn Manson, and even Alice Cooper, who claims he's a Christian.
Yeah. A lot of Christians believe he is.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like Alice Cooper's great, even though he continues being Alice Cooper. See, so if you're really saved, you're called out of it. You're called out of darkness into God's marvelous light. When you see people not called out of darkness as a marvelous light, then they're not called out. They're not called for breakfast, folks. They're passed over. They got up and left. So in the times past, you'd see these satanic bands and people, and yet it's easy to say, "Oh, look at Stairway to Heaven," and it's backmasked. And when you play it, it says, what does it say? My sweet, sweet Satan, or something like that.
Something like that.
Backmask. So it was times past. I think a lot of Christian ministries and stuff exposed that, which was good, by the way. Which was really good to expose it. Because you were like, oh, I like that song. Like Stairway to Heaven. Sheesh. I listened to that today, and that's still my favorite guitar solo. I don't know why, but that guitar solo really moves. Yeah, because it's magic. Yeah, because it's magic. And I just love that guitar solo, the way it sounds and everything. So, and as a kid, I really liked that whole album, that whole, in that group. So... but what we're seeing today is that it's not just the satanic groups; it's everyone. You could go back in history, and we kind of have fun doing this. We go back and watch. I don't know. Name a few things, Mr. Powell. Who do we watch? I don't know. Sammy Davis Jr. Right?
Oh yeah,
Sammy
Dean
Davis.
Martin.
Yeah, Dean Martin. Of course, we know Frankie was a mafia guy. But. Hey, Sammy Davis Jr., what a great guy. And then you find out, he was a full-blown Satanist. Mm-hmm. He actually went to Anton LaVey's Church of Satan.
There's pictures of them together.
Yeah. And when I found that out, I was like, what?
Or
Sammy?
Elvis.
Oh, my gosh, I can't tell you. Well, Miss KAPOW and I both really liked Elvis. Who wouldn't like Elvis? Elvis is an American icon. What a great guy. What a beautiful man. Another one who claimed he was Christian and did a bunch of gospel albums, right? Mm-hmm. Another one. When you look into his life, the man was a Satanist. Mm-hmm. Necromancy. Mm-hmm. Talking to the dead. Totally terrible. How did he get to where he's at? Of course, my theories even go even deeper about his beauty. How he got that beauty. So, yeah. And it's kind of an interesting exercise to go back in time, and you see that anybody with the advent of television or radio or anything, anybody that was anybody had to sell out to get there.
Yeah, somewhere there's that story.
Yeah. And a lot of these people you thought were innocent, were clean. Oh, the Osmonds. Mm-hmm. I thought the Osmonds were beautiful Mormons, wholesome. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is you'll hear us say all the time, anybody who's in the world of that kind of fame had to sell out, because he's the boss of this world. He's the God of the air. He's the God of this world. I mean, that's a fact. I'm not making that up. Mm-mm. So you think the boss is just going to let any biblical Christian in to infiltrate his agenda? Mm-mm. Doesn't make sense, right? So I say all this to say this, and this is what this show's about today. It's about the Muse and kind of a little bit of the history of it, and the shocking thing that we kind of ran into. Barry Manilow. Barry Manilow, clean guy, right? Everybody knows he's gay, right?
Yep.
Everybody knows he
Well, they don't. They know it now.
Yeah, he's gay. Apparently, he held that a secret for 40 years.
And see, a lot of them did because it was unacceptable.
Yes. He's been married to his manager for 39 years now, or 40 years. And he just came out as gay at age 73, and he's age 75 now. Mm-hmm. So just a few years ago, he came out. Barry Manilow has sold 80 million records or something like that.
Wow.
Won several Grammys, something like 40, maybe even 50 top 10 hits. Huge career, huge songwriter, singer-songwriter. His big hit that he broke with was Mandy.
Mandy.
In the early 70s. Huge hit. And then he had a string of music. Now it's always been love songs, though it's
Unrequited.
Unrequited love. But they've been clean, right? You know, Barry, that's dogs chasing
like Barry
demons.
Manilow.
She don't like Barry Manilow. She's listening to Why Don't You Look Into Jesus by Mesquite Cafe.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Dogs like that song. They like the frequency. But for the most part, you know, I saw one picture of Barry Manilow with what's his name, Marilyn Manson.
Oh.
You know, I saw one picture there, and of course, you know, if you're a straight up guy, you're not going to be taking a picture with that guy. But Barry, you know, doesn't claim to be a Christian. He's a secular artist singing songs, love songs, huge following. I think the majority are women. That kind of music. Mm-hmm. But he had a formula. He wrote a lot of commercials, a lot of jingles. A lot of jingles. State Farm is there. I'm stuck on Band-Aid. Band-Aid stuck on me, all and on. And I remember one of my sisters was just totally infatuated with Barry Manilow. You know, totally infatuated. A lot of women were because they didn't know he was gay. Well, and if they did, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can change him. And we had good stories, right? We had a friend.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell that story real quick?
Oh, no, you go ahead.
We had a friend named Anna. Anna. Mexican. Well, no, she's Mexican. She was Ecuadorian or something like that.
Hispanic.
Yeah, Hispanic. And she spent years cleaning houses and stuff. And she had a job cleaning houses in Malibu with very rich people. And there was one client she had, a lady she used to clean her house. I don't know what she was, but she was involved in the music industry. I want to say an attorney or an accountant or,
something.
The back end people there, rich. And Anna just loved Barry Manilow. Mm-hmm. Just loved Barry Manilow. This gal that she cleaned the house for was Barry Manilow's attorney or accountant or bookkeeper, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. She knew him. She
had personal relationship with him.
With Barry. And so one time Anna was over there cleaning the house, and it was her birthday, right?
Something like that.
It was her birthday or something like that. And this lady says, hey, somebody's on the phone wants to talk to you. Huh? So Anna gets on the phone, and it's Barry Manilow.
I know. That was really nice.
Really nice. And he wishes her a happy birthday and all that stuff. So that, of course, that's a lifelong thing. So those are good stories. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying, I'm not sitting there saying he's Marilyn Manson. Evil. He's evil. He's, blah, blah, blah. And seems pretty clean type of thing. So you get it? Mm-hmm. So, when we were talking about, hey, no one gets there without selling out, it's easy to say, yeah, but this guy, mm-hmm. I know this gal named Anna who he called, he was on the phone and he wished a housekeeper, a little Hispanic housekeeper, happy birthday. Mm-hmm. That's a good dude.
Yeah, he took the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when Brother KAPOW says, oh, they're all sold out, how can that be? Well, I'm just going to show you that it is. It just is. Because when you're part of the world, Satan just has an agenda. So like I said, he had a lot of hits, a lot of songs. But there's just one song, and I think you'd probably know it. What's it called?
I write the music.
I write the
Or
songs.
I write the songs, yes.
I write the songs. And I can't sing it for you because I'd have to charge you guys to sing it. But, it goes, I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs. I am music, and I write the songs. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's this big anthem about, it's not about, the song isn't, he didn't write it about himself. I write the songs that make, music is personified in this song as writing the songs that do a lot of things. It even makes the young girls cry, and it does all this stuff. And it's music, and I write the songs. Very powerful. So Miss KAPOW and I ran across some of this stuff recently. And I don't know what made you look up the lyrics, Miss KAPOW. Why?
I just do because, it's just something I do because I want to know what it says.
And that's a good Brian right there. Just want to know what it says. Why do I like that song?
Yeah. Can I sing the song?
Yeah, can I sing this song? Why do I like it? Why does it move me?
Yeah.
Yeah, why does it move me? What's making me emote in it? Mm-hmm. So why don't you?
I have it.
Why don't you read what you found?
Okay, the lyrics. The very first one is it says, "I've been alive forever, and I wrote the very first song. I put the words and the melodies together. I am music, and I write the songs. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs. I write the songs." Now, the third stanza is what creeped me out, too. It says, "My home lies deep within you, and I've got my own place in your soul. Now, when I look out through your eyes, I am young again, even though I am very old." Then it says, "I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs. I write the songs." And then it says, "Oh, my music makes you dance and gives your spirit to take a chance. And I wrote some rock and roll so you can move. Music fills your heart. Well, that's a real fine place to start. It's from me. It's for you. It's from you. It's for me. It's a worldwide symphony."
That is Satan. That is Lucifer singing to you in that song. The very first lyric says, "I've been around forever." Mm-hmm. I've been around forever.
And I wrote the very first song.
Yes. Now, you go back to Genesis. I don't have the scripture right there in front of me. But anyway, you go back to Genesis in the genealogy. Out of Cain's line was a man named Jubal. And he was the very first to use music, to bring in the harp and the lyre and the flute and all that stuff. Okay.
He's the father of the harp and the organ.
And he's Cain's lineage, right?
That's right.
So I'm not saying all musical instruments are, evil and all that stuff.
No.
But you need to know where that comes from. We know that Satan was adorned in beauty. Mm-hmm. We know that he had every precious stone on him, and he was a beautiful cherub that covered. We know that from Isaiah, right? And Ezekiel. Right. Mm-hmm. We also know that he had timbrels about him. Mm-hmm. And that a lot of people thought that he was, God's, worship leader, heavenly worship leader. But anyway, he made music. He made sound. Mm-hmm. He was beautiful. So when this song says, "I've been around forever," he's a created being, but he has been around forever. Created being. And he says, "And I wrote the very first song." And he did. Okay? He's music. Mm-hmm. He writes the song. And his music does all these things. And then the second verse that should give everybody the creeps.
Mm-hmm. Where it says, "My home lies deep within you, and I've got my own place in your soul."
Okay, my home I'm music, right? I'm the muse. Lies deep within you, and I have my own place deep within your soul. You really want something deep within your soul? You
Not
want
like
something
that.
that's claiming you as its home? No. Whether it's music, dance, film. Wait, you know what I mean?
It's an idol.
It's an idol. And then it says, I look out the windows of your eyes.
Yeah. Now, when I look out through your eyes, I am young again, even though I am very old.
This is satanic possession. This is Lucifer possessing. This is the muse possessing a person and then claiming to look out their eyes and like, I relive again. I'm youthful again, living through your body. I'm music. That's how these people, I mean, you know, we all probably seen the YouTube videos of Beyonce and even Michael Jackson, and all these people transform when they get on stage. They transform into
Yes.
Sasha. Some of them have names, you know, and they transform to these other beings, these other creatures, because it's a demonic possession. It's that thing that lives deep within their soul. So here's this clean, innocent Barry Manilow that so many people love, and all these love songs and these great hits and everything, actually writing a song telling you, hiding in plain sight, the Luciferian doctrine of demon possession. That actually happens. He's actually hiding in plain sight, telling you, this is how I wrote this song. This is how I write all my songs. Barry is worth, as of 2017, Barry's estimated net worth is $100 million.
Can you imagine?
So if you bow down to me, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the earth. He's been, he's still at it. He's 75 years old. He's still performing and singing. He has a residency right now in Las Vegas. He's lived in California, Palm Springs, California, Bel Air. You know, he's global. Global. So if you bow down, I'll give you the kingdoms of the earth. Okay? So now let's look at this. Music comes from the word muse, right?
Right.
Now, you could say, well, I was just musing. I was pondering, meditating. I was just ruminating. I was musing over breakfast, right? But the other example of muse is something that inspires you. It's a guiding genius, basically, right?
Yep.
It's any of the 9 sister goddesses in Greek mythology presiding over song, poetry, and the arts and sciences, folks. That's why I'm telling you, you don't get to where you're at prominently in the world without something getting you there. That's the secret.
Yeah, and they all have an agenda. They may not be aware of the agenda, but they do have the agenda. And then when they speak or they sing, they're dropping seeds of that agenda into us.
A lot of these artists and stuff come on the scene and they only have one hit song.
Yep.
And they have a whole career, but they only have one hit song that really.
Like Georgia Girl.
Georgie Girl. Georgie Girl's a transgender song, folks. Hey there, Georgie Girl. It's a transgender song. You'll hear like one hit wonders. Queen was a great band. They had a lot of hits and stuff like that. But their greatest hit, it's a movie that's being looked at right now for the Oscars, right? Bohemian Rhapsody. And if you study that song and you look behind how that was made, you go, how in the world did Freddie Mercury? That's interesting. Takes on the last name of a Greek god, and he's a sodomite. Was a sodomite, and his religion was Zoroastrianism.
Yes.
How did a guy like that write something like that? It was a muse.
And that it was actually allowed to be played because they didn't play those kind of songs back then.
We didn't do a 17-minute song on FM radio airplay. It took them 8 months to do that album. You know, that was a lot of money the record companies allowed. Unbelievable. And I mean, that's just one example. So let's look at Muse. The Webster Dictionary, Merriam-Webster Dictionary says, did you know the Muses were the 9 Greek goddesses who presided over the arts that included music and literature? Now, check this out, folks. A shrine to the Muses was called, in Latin, a museum.
That's interesting.
Would you ever think that when you went to an art museum, you were going to a shrine of art created by muses through human beings? And probably some of you are disagreeing with me. You think, a great artist could just be a great artist. And that's fine, that's fine. I just think it's interesting that a museum was called a shrine to the Muses. How about you have your Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? It's a museum, rock and roll museums. An artist or poet about to begin work would call on his particular muse to inspire him. And a poem itself might begin with such a call. Thus, Homer's Odyssey begins, quote, "Sing to me of the man, muse." That is of Odysseus. Sing to me of the man, muse. So he's calling the muse to inspire him, come into him, and give him what he needs. Right? Remember that movie? I forget what it was called, about Africa or
Is the Australian movie?
Australia, yeah.
Where that little boy would say, "I sing you to me." And
yeah.
these people came because of that, because he sang her to him.
Yeah.
Or something.
I sing you to me. I sing you to me.
Yeah, with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. Yeah, flipper hands. Today, a muse may be one special creative spirit, according to the dictionary, but some artists and writers have also chosen living human beings to serve as their muses. So it says right there that it is a spiritual thing. Now, this was written by Dave Hunt, who died in 2013. It's from his website, Berean Call. Nuggets from Occult Invasion was the ancient muse of spirit. It's not very long. Let me read this real quick. It says, in Greek mythology, the arts were under the direction of the 9 daughters of Zeus. These nymphs or lower deities, also known as muses, inspired writers and artists. The muse, Euterpe, was the inspirer of lyric poetry. And there's another one who did music and dancing and blah, blah, blah. Johannes Brahms felt that at times when composing, he was, quote, in tune with the infinite, end of quote. Although he believed that his inspiration came from God, the fact that he admitted having to be, quote, in a semi-trance condition with the conscious mind in temporary abeyance or suspension, right, end of quote. As with a spirit medium, betrays another source. God does not inspire trance mediums.
Nope.
Tchaikovsky confessed that under similar inspiration, he behaved like a madman. Now, see, these are old classical musicians, folks. So this is nothing new. Beyonce, Barry Manilow, none of this is new. These guys are the guys who are writing the big classical pieces. I write the songs. I've been around forever. I wrote the very first song, right? Richard Strauss was sure that at least some of the music that he wrote was dictated to him by omnipotent entities, not of this earth. The great opera Madame Butterfly, Giacomo Puccini was convinced, was dictated to him by God. Gustav Mahler claimed that he was compelled by other powers to compose what he hadn't chosen to write. George Gershwin testified that Rhapsody in Blue came to him suddenly, that he heard and saw as throw on paper. The complete construction of the Rhapsody from beginning to end of his hit song, The Blizzard, country western composer Harlan Howard said his pencil just kept on writing. That'd be interesting to see what that song's about at another time. the blizzard. Mm-hmm. Never heard of it.
No.
But his pencil just kept writing, surprising him as it went. And he wondered, quote, did some great songwriter in the sky use me as a medium? Operetta composer Rudolf Frimmel said, quote, I sat down at the piano and I put my hands on the piano and I let the spirit guide me. No, I never do the music. I never compose it. Oh, no, no, no. I am a tool. I am nothing. I am being used. It comes from someone, a spirit perhaps, using me. End of quote. See, and then a lot of us go when we listen to this music, when we watch the movies. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's the person behind it is being used.
Yeah. And it's amazing because there are certain songs that just keep coming back.
Yes.
You know? There's this one gal, her name is Eva Cassidy.
Yes.
She's since now deceased, but she did a rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I mean, and there's a lot of artists that have done that song. And it was first sang by Judy Garland that I recall. Mm-hmm. And she made that famous. So everybody does that. It seems like everybody does that song. Well, this particular gal, she does it with a guitar. And I don't know what it is, but she'll sing that song and I just get goosebumps. And I just want to cry. And I'm not really sure why I want to cry. That's what's really weird. But when I was reading some of the comments about people that have heard her sing and her voice, they have the same reaction. So I did some research on her and blah, 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 blah. She's not like she's occultic or anything like that. But there is a certain magic over it. And in a lot of her songs. And she had died of cancer or whatever. But I don't like music that does that to me when I have no real reason to emote like that. Mm-hmm. And I could feel it. So I don't listen to her stuff anymore. But it's actually a very beautiful rendition. And it's strange because I do some volunteer work now and then and office volunteer work. And my supervisor, she brings in music. Well, that song from Eva Cassidy was playing in this mix. And I remember I was just working. I was typing and stuff. And I heard that song and immediately, and I remember I'm working. So my mind is on work. But I heard the song and all of a sudden I had this overwhelming urge to start crying. Mm. Strange. Mm-hmm. Don't you think? To me, that's magic.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and we were talking about that because I listened to it too, and the gal had a beautiful voice, beautiful guitars, beautiful voice, but it didn't have that. I didn't want to cry or anything. I was like, well, that's pretty, Mm-hmm. But for Miss KAPOW, she's a lot more sensitive to this stuff than I am. You really are, and you'll hear stuff. It'll just like catch her. You'll feel it, and the thing we were talking about this, it's like, well, if it's magical and stuff, why did she die? Why was she taken away and not be able to complete the agenda? And you said something very important. You said, well, part of the magic is her death. Mm-hmm. When you know the backstory of it, that's part of the magic.
Yeah, exactly.
She
and
died
then
of
what it
cancer.
does, it makes you long for that. It gives you that longing, like you're missing something, and you need to hear that song. It's this longing, and it's not right. You shouldn't feel that way about anything or anyone except the Lord.
Exactly. And of course, I had that exact same thing with music in 2006 when I was under witchcraft.
Yep. See, that's what I'm saying. It's
so bad magic. That I had to actually physically remove myself from restaurants and stuff because the song would be playing over the sound system, and I could not be there with other people without crying, emoting. I have a story where I was strapped into a dentist chair, and they were working on my teeth, and a song came over on the loudspeaker, and I was crying, but I couldn't move. It was very torturous for me.
I remember that.
The song, it took a long time for that to leave me too. A long time. There's magic in this stuff. Let's take a short commercial break, Ms. KAPOW, and then we'll come back with some scripture on this, the second part.
Sounds good.
How many of you remember the story contained in the book of Acts, chapter 19, where there were 7 sons of Sceva, and they were trying to cast out a demon because they saw the Apostle Paul doing great miracles through God. So they tried to do the same thing. So they go up to this guy who's demon-possessed, and they say, "We adjure you by this Jesus whom Paul preaches to come out." Yeah. And guess what the evil spirit did? The evil spirit answered them and said to them, "Hey, I recognize Jesus and I know about Paul, but who are you?" And guess what? The man that had the demons jumped on him, beat the heck out of him, subdued him, overpowered him, and they literally fled out of the house naked and wounded. Wow. Guess why? Guess why? Because they did not go to Amazon.com and buy Demons in My Marriage Bed, a true story of spiritual warfare. The book is not about you being married or single. The book is about dealing with demonic forces, and you need to know how to do that today more than you ever have for your own life and for those around you. The book is a training manual, and there's training in there that will teach you how not to be the sons of Sceva and get beat up by demons. It will give you the tools for you to be recognized by them, because they'll know that you're exercising the authority that is given to you through Christ. You need to get this book.
This is some creepy stuff. It really is. This is not just... this is not just conspiracy theory. This is not just, the KAPOW's going crazy again with their, demonic exposure. This is really creepy stuff, folks. It ties directly into Lucifer, and into the future. It's an antichrist spirit, anti-God spirit. So let's go to. I'm going to read from the NASB. Let's go to Daniel.
You know what I was just thinking? Let me finish this thought. Because, you were saying how when you were under the magic spell, and that you had that longing for that person. And I'm telling you, when I read or listen to certain music or blah, 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 I get that longing, that it's like an emptiness, this feeling of unrequited love. If you will so say that, and that's exactly what Barry Manilow writes about. But I'm thinking, isn't that what the devil wants to do? He wants to steal you from following after the Lord. He wants to steal you from ever seeking God, seeking eternal life. So he uses music or the media to draw you away from the Lord. And that's the same motive that that gal had on you.
Yeah, it's almost like using fire to burn. Yeah,
and that's why there's these songs, and it's the same thing with those romantic novels that you read. So how many women read that stuff and just get lost? In the story. Ugh, it's terrible. And Lord showed me that a long time ago, because I used to when I was a young girl, when I was 13, 14, I would read those kind of stories, looking for my prince.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, he's the deceiver. That's for sure. Okay, Daniel, chapter 3. All right. This is Nebuchadnezzar, who was a king of the earth at the time. And Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold. And the height was 60 cubits, and its width was 6 cubits. So we got 66, and we're missing the other 6, which to me may be indicative of the future Antichrist spirit, adding that other 6, right? To me, that's just a personal thing. So anyway, he set it up on the plain of Dor in the province of Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent word to assemble all the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, all the judges and magistrates, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. Now, you notice how it's all the leadership. It's all the goats, right? It's all the goat leaders. It's not the real shepherds. It's all the goat leaders who are assembled to this anti-God king, this one who has set himself. At this point, Nebuchadnezzar had set himself up as deity.
Yep.
He's deity to himself and everybody else. He's a god in the flesh.
Definitely.
Yeah. So have you noticed all the rulers go to there? So when you have the rulers, whether they're politicians or celebrities or Oprah Winfrey or anybody, assembling you at the dedication of the image to anything but of God, be aware of that. So verse 3, then the satraps, the prefects, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the rulers of the provinces were assembled for the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. And they stood before the image that he set up. Then the herald, right, loudly proclaimed this, to you the command is given, O peoples, nations, and men of every language. That's everybody. That at the moment you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the lyre, the trigon, the psaltery, the bagpipe, and all kinds of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. All right? Now, the word music is zamar. It's Aramaic. And it correlates to music. Music. It's Aramaic music. And so they announce, when you hear all these instruments and you hear all the kinds of music, you are to what? What are you supposed to do?
Fall down and worship the golden image.
Fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And guess what? Whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast in the midst of the furnace of blazing fire. All right? So it goes on that when all the people heard it, they all bowed down and blah, 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 except the three Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and we all know the story, right?
Right.
How they were thrown into the fire. Now, you say, how is that important? Well, it's important. Keep in mind that Nebuchadnezzar has deified himself. He has deified himself, and he has commanded everybody to bow down to the image of himself, and he did it when you hear the music. And if you don't, you get killed. It's the same thing today. We are under the oppression of a fallen world. We're under the oppression of a Lucy loser in the sky with trannies and his fallen angels. And if you don't comply with the mark of his beast, you don't succeed in his little kingdom. You're not going to buy or sell to that point. You're not going to be Barry Manilow. You're not going to be worth $100 million, folks. That ain't going to happen. And if you're working a regular job and stuff, you're not going to be CEO. You just got to know that. So keep this story in mind, because then from here, we are going to go to Isaiah 14. This is before the Babylonian captivity. This is a prophecy regarding the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, well before the Babylonian captivity. Why I read Nebuchadnezzar's act first is so now you can understand the prophecy. Because in this prophecy, he in fact is talking about the king of Babylon and the destruction of him, right? And freeing God's people from that oppression. But the deeper spiritual meaning behind this is he is talking about the spiritual Babylon that we all live in. See, it's a type. It's a type of the real spiritual Babylon that we live in, and the king, which is Lucifer, right?
It's the synagogue of Satan.
Yes.
That Revelation talks about.
Exactly. And it is tied in. And it's tied into Revelation 13 also. The image there of the beast in Revelation 13, of taking that mark. It's absolutely tied into all of that. So let's start with chapter 14 in Isaiah. And I can't read the whole chapter. It's all so good, but just let's start with verse 3, okay? Because it's prophesied that Israel is going to be taken captive, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to be oppressed by their rulers, which they were in Babylon in a real sense. But this is talking also about a bigger spiritual sense about our time here on this prison planet that we're under. How this probation, how we find our way through the very narrow gate through Jesus Christ, right? Mm-hmm. Very few find it, and then enter in. And then you have to abide in Christ, folks. You have to abide there, right?
That's right.
We can't just find the narrow gate, walk on it, and jump around and go, hey, I'm going to go back on the broad road. I mean, you walk in the Spirit, folks. So in verse 3 it says, and it will be in the day when the Lord, that's Yahweh, when you're Yahweh, gives you rest from your pain and turmoil and harsh service in which you have been enslaved. So think about the second coming of our Messiah. Mm-hmm. Think about our salvation and our redemption when he comes and he gives us rest and he takes us and we get out of these flesh suits and we get our spirit bodies back, our light-natured spirit bodies, and we're taken into the realm of God where Christ is our shepherd and he's the merciful judge and righteous judge, and we live in an environment where we have no more sin. Think about that. And he gives us rest from all this pain, all this hurt, all this turmoil, which is the raging, the rage, the wrath, and harsh, fierce, heavy hardship, and service. That means labor. 6 days you'll labor, on the seventh day you'll rest, right? This labor in which we have been enslaved. We've become bondage to it. That's here on earth. Let's read it that way, okay? Mm-hmm. Verse 4. So on this day, and it will be on this day when that happens. See, that's in the future still. That's what I'm talking about, the restaurant. Now's not the time to get up and go wandering around. That on this day, that you will take up this taunt. It's a parable. It's a proverb. It's a taunt song against the king of Babylon. All right? Mm-hmm. So though it was written about Nebuchadnezzar that was going to happen, let's look at the bigger picture about Satan, who's the type. King of Babylon is the archetype of Lucifer. Same thing with the king of Tyre in Ezekiel. Mm-hmm. Follow me? Mm-hmm. So you're going to take up this taunt against the king of Babylon, and you're going to say, quote, this is what God's telling us what we're going to say. So let's get ready to say it. You're going to say how the oppressor has ceased. Who's the oppressor? Satan. How he has ceased. Oh, he's did away with, didn't he? And how fury, his raging behavior, has ceased. All this crap you see around you, one day when we get redeemed, you're going to go, look, it's all gone. Mm-hmm. The Lord, the Yahweh, has broken the staff of the wicked. That's always means the judgment or the authority. He's broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of rulers, which used to strike the peoples in fury with unceasing strokes. Okay? When we live in this world right now, don't you feel like Satan is just constantly, the wicked are constantly just beating you? Mm-hmm. Constantly.
Yep.
Well, those very scepters, those staffs that they're hitting you on the back with all the time furiously, they're going to cease. They're going to be gone. These are unceasing strokes which subdued the nations in anger with unrestrained persecution. Don't you feel that way in this world?
Yeah.
It's unrestrained. That's why when you read the news and you see the transvestites and you see the schools embracing gender this, and you're seeing all this Satanism in your face, and you see Baphomet everywhere and the occult symbolism, it is like you're just being unrestrained persecution on your righteous soul. Verse 7 says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. Remember, we're taunting Lucy Loser in the sky with diamonds. That's why I call him that, because it's a taunt. It's a taunt because that's why he's a loser. Because you read this and you go, he lost. Mm-hmm. Why would I call him anything else? Lucy Loser in the sky with trannies, because he's a Baphomet. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth in the shouts of joy. The whole earth is joyous. You know, it's so joyful that in verse 8 it says, even the cypress trees rejoice over you. Even the cypress trees are happy. You know what they say? Since you were laid low, no tree cutter comes to cut us up. Even the trees say, you know what? No one's destroying the forest anymore. No one's cutting us down. We're glad you're gone. Verse 9, Sheol. That's the Hebrew for hell or Hades. Sheol, it's the underworld. It's the place where the shadowy Rephaim hang out. Sheol from beneath is excited. Ooh, it's trembling, it shakes, it's perturbed. It's excited over to meet you when you come. Dear Lucifer, it's excited. It can't wait. It can't wait for you to come. It's a taunt, folks. It arouses for you the spirits of the dead. Now, this is interesting because there's a whole study right here. It arouses for you, Lucifer, king of Babylon, the spirits. And that word is Rapha. That's where we get the term Raphaim. Giants, the Raphaim.
The shades.
It's shades or ghosts. They're departed spirits of the dead. But they're the giants, the disembodied, the mixture, the ones who died and went to Sheol. It arouses for you the spirits, the Raphaim of the dead, the ghosts. All the leaders. Now, this is an interesting word because atud means male goat. It's translated leaders here, but it says all the male goats. It's translated male goat 22 times and only leaders once. And it's translated goat 6 times. So should the word be leaders or goats?
Goats.
Yes. The word should be male goats. It arises for you the spirits of the dead, all the male goats of the earth. But if you don't believe in serpent seed, I think that's pretty clear. There's another species here, folks, not just humans. And they don't come from the stars. They're right here. It raises all the kings of the nations from their thrones. This isn't Sheol. This isn't hell. This is when they see Lucifer coming. And they will all respond and say to you, even you have been made weak as we. You have become like us. Now, they're dead. They're just ghosts. They're shades.
Didn't the Bible say you would die as a man?
Yeah. So you will die as a man. Psalms. Now, verse 11 is the one I want you to hang on to because this is the music one. Your pomp, that's your eminence, your arrogance, your excellence, your pride. And the music of your harps, your lute, your guitar, your harp, have been brought down to Sheol. Okay, so think back on Daniel. Daniel King Nebuchadnezzar says, I'm building a golden image. You will bow down and worship me at the sound of music. That's when you will bow down and worship me. And if you don't, I'll kill you. Sound of music. Isaiah, before that even happened, God's already prophesied his demise. Not only King Nebuchadnezzar in the physical sense, but in the spiritual sense as Lucifer, that his pomp, the arrogance of building his golden idol and saying, bow down to me when you hear the music, that very music will be brought to Sheol.
That's right.
That's a great tie-in. So when Barry Manilow writes the song, I've been around forever, I wrote the very first song. I make the young girls cry. I make this, I make that. I'm music and I write the songs. I live inside you. I leave deep in you. When he says that very thing, that music will be brought down to Sheol with Lucifer.
Amen.
Maggots are spread out as your bed beneath you, and
Yeah.
worms are your covering. This is a taunt, folks. This ain't God saying, I'm going to say this to Satan. He's saying we will say this to him on the day of our salvation. Mm-hmm. And here's else we're going to say.
Part of our inheritance.
It is part of our inheritance. It's part of our song that we sing, like the Song of Moses, Song of the Redeemed. It's part of it. Yeah, it's a taunt. We're going to taunt this guy. I started early. I started taunting early. Oh, yeah, that's why I call him Lucy Loser in the Sky with training. I started to taunt early because I've read what's going to happen. I've read to the end.
Plus, can you imagine how irritated he is when he hears it spoken?
Oh, yeah.
When he hears the word of God spoken?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He hates this. He hates this show. Verse 12 says, how have you fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, son of the dawn? Now, I like this translation by NASB a lot better than the King James, because the King James translates it day star, Lucifer. And that's a title that truly belongs to Christ. In Revelation 22:16 says, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things for the churches. I am the root of the descendant of David, the bright morning star. Mm-hmm. That belongs to Christ. But in our KJV, Lucifer, the word Lucifer is day star. I don't like that.
No.
I don't like that. But here in the NASV, it is rendered, I think, far more correctly. It says, O star, which is star, Hillel, shining one, of the morning. Mm-hmm. Star of the morning, not morning star or not day star. Not morning star, but star of the morning. It's almost an inversion of it's an antichrist inversion.
Mm-hmm. Well, it goes with 2 Corinthians 11 where it says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Yes. And what we're seeing too, like in the book of Adam and Eve, the books of Adam and Eve, Satan's always transforming into angels of light to try to deceive Adam and Eve.
That's right.
In the cave, constantly pretending that he came from God.
Yep.
Constantly. That's his deception. So, oh, how have you fallen, O star of the morning, son of the dawn. Now, I looked at this word, son of the dawn, which is shakar. And it means charm away. It means dawn, dawning of the day, but it also is translated daybreak. And do you know Barry Manilow has another song called Daybreak?
Yep.
He has another hit song called Daybreak. I just think it's interesting. Mm-hmm. It is, I write the songs. It's about Muse, about music. And then there's another one, Daybreak. O star of the morning, son of the daybreak.
Yeah, and the very first lyric to that song is, I'm singing to the world, it's time we let the Spirit come in. Let it come on in.
I'm singing to the world, it's time to let the Spirit come on in. Why do you write that lyric? Why is that written that way? What are you talking about, Spirit?
Okay, let me just read because this
Sure.
is great easy. I'm singing to the world, it's time we let the Spirit come in, let it come on in. I'm singing to the world. Everybody's caught in the spin. Look at where we've been. We've been running around year after year, blinded with pride, blinded with fear.
And so guess what? It's going to be daybreak, right? In other words, I'm going to show you wisdom. I'm going to open your eyes, and you too will be as gods. Right?
Oh, this whole song is... Ugh.
Daybreak. Yeah, the whole thing's creepy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I see in it. I see the garden back again. What's the choruses? Daybreak.
But it's daybreak. If you want to believe, it can be daybreak. Ain't no time to grieve. Said it's daybreak if you'll only believe and let it shine, shine, shine all around the world. Then it says, singing to the world, what's the point in putting it down? There's so much love to share. I'm singing to the world. Don't you see it all comes around? The feelings everywhere. We've been closing our eyes day after day, covered in clouds, losing our way.
But the star of the morning, the son of the dawn, the one who's fallen from heaven, is the one who's going to give you daybreak. Like Albert Pike says, Lucifer, a strange name for such a dark god, is the light bearer. The lyrics right there say, shine, shine, shine. Dude, Barry Manilow was not some occultist. He's not Black Sabbath or anything. But yet, everybody, me included, have heard that music and never knew what it was behind it.
That's right.
And in these last days, discernment, thank God, is exposing all this stuff. So you don't get caught up in it. Mm-hmm. And it's not just music. Let me tell you, Ms. KAPOW and I had a motorhome from 2009 to 2015. Mm-hmm. We had a big old Class A motorhome, 45-foot motorhome. And it was, the name of the motorhome was Daemon Intruder, Daemon. That's just another spelling for demon. It was a Daemon Intruder, right?
Yep.
The same company also made another motorhome, and they called it Daybreak. They had a Daybreak model. They also had another model, and it was called Challenger.
Yeah.
Challenger. I'll rise up to the throne north of heaven, right? I'll be as God. So this company was using the same thing for its success. It's all around us, folks. We live in an occult world. It's hidden in plain sight. So let me go on. Oh, how you fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, son of the dawn, daybreak. You've been cut down to the earth. You who have weakened the nations. We're still taunting him. But you said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God, and I will sit on the mount of assembly. See, that's not your physical Nebuchadnezzar. He deified himself, but this is a fallen angel. I will sit on the mount of the assembly in the recesses of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. And here's the taunt. Nevertheless, you will be thrust down to Sheol, to the recesses of the pit. Those who see you will gaze at you. They will ponder over you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble? And like you said, Ms. KAPOW, we will die like a man. Mm-hmm. Who shook the kingdoms, who made the world like a wilderness and overthrew its cities, who did not allow his prisoners to go home. And anyway, so it goes on, but that's all I'm going to read for that. That is Lucifer.
Yep.
And that is the one who's inspiring the Muse. I write the songs. I've been around forever. I live deep within your soul. I reside deep there. And when I look out your eyes, I feel young again, even though I'm old. We don't want that guy in us, right? Mm-mm. Anything else, Ms. KAPOW?
Mm-mm.
I think we covered everything. We covered everything and then some.
Yeah.
That Daybreak song is creepy.
Yeah.
I know that Blizzard song is creepy. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but she did look that up, and there's some creepy lyrics there.
Yep.
We can go on and on.
They're all creepy because they're all inspired by the pit,
Yeah.
from the pit.
So I hope, you learned something, or, it kind of put it more into perspective. I mean, that this is real. We're not just saying stuff. We're not just making this stuff up. This is real. It's all around us. And sometimes we're ignorant of it. But when it is exposed and when we do see it, we should act on it. Right? All right. That's all I got to say. Give them a ciao, ciao.
Ciao, baby.
Sipping whiskey from a paper cup. You drown your sorrows till you can't stand up. Take a look at what you've done to yourself. Why don't you put the bottle back on the shelf? Yellow finger from your cigarette. Your hands are shaking while your body's wet. Why don't you look into Jesus? He got the answer. Work all night, you sleep all day. You take your money, throw it all away. You say you're gonna be a superstar, but you never hung around enough to find out who you really are. Gonorrhea on Valentine's Day. You're still looking for the perfect day. You think rock and roll will set you free, honey. You'll be dead before you're 33. Shooting junk till you're half insane. A broken needle in your purple vein. Why don't you look into Jesus? He got the answer. He got the answer. Work all night, you sleep all day. You take your money, throw it all away. You say you're gonna be a superstar, but you never hung around enough to find out who you really are. You got the answer. Hey! Think back until you were a child. Your soul was free, your heart ran wild. Each day was different, life was a thrill. You knew tomorrow would be better still. Things have changed, you're much older now. If you're unhappy and you don't know how, why don't you look in?